Hi, I'm Michelle Burnet. I work with Wellspring students, and I've been going to Wellspring for, well, I want to say a year, but that's not really true because when COVID started, I was living in Northern Virginia, and I started listening to Wellspring online. My sister has lived down here for a long time, and I started coming with her a few years ago, and then I continued coming online for about 2 years before I moved down here. So for me, I guess this whole thing started when I was moving from Northern Virginia down to South Carolina. The Holy Spirit kept nudging me, hey, it's time to start tithing. It's time to start tithing. And I was like, no, it's not. There are too many moving expenses. I trust you, God, but just not yet. Today I was going on these long walks in the woods. And so every Sunday I would walk the path and I would listen to church. All of a sudden Trey comes on, he says, we're gonna do this tithing challenge. And he said the magic words, we will give you your money back. And I said, what? Like, who does that? I did it. I started doing the tithing challenge, and moving from a different state is expensive. It's not cheap. And I got this huge summer school teaching bonus, and it was to the penny what I needed. So all of a sudden, these opportunities to make money started arising, which is really hard when you're a teacher, because you only have so much time to give, and they take a lot of your time. Around the same time, I kept going to interviews with schools that just weren't the right fit for me. Then, as I'm waiting to hear back from a school who I found out was planning on hiring me, I get a call from the school that I work at now, and they said, hey, we want to do an interview with you. And I said, okay. Well, I'm actually waiting to hear back from somebody else. I don't know if that's going to work. And she said, well, we just want to talk. How about that? And so I had an interview with them, and they called the next morning at 7 o'clock in the morning and asked if I would be interested in the job before the other school called back, which was like an hour later. So I knew that God had set this job up. Then I get down here, and I don't know if any of you have tried to get a house in the last 2 years. When I first got here, there were plenty of houses on the market, but they were gone within a day. There was one house that I put an offer on way over what it was valued at, and it didn't go through. Well, then all of a sudden, the market jumped up, $70,000, $100,000. I don't know what it is, but it was a lot, and it was way over what I could afford anymore. And God kept saying, trust me. And at the same time, Trey gave this sermon about planning and preparing. And part of the preparing was just doing what I was doing. Tithing, trusting God. And during this time, I was just at such peace. Me from a year ago, I would have been a mess. I have really been able to be calm and be thankful. And I think for me, that's been the biggest piece. Sometimes it's the peace that I've been given. Sometimes it's the calm of during the storm. When God is like, hey, you're fine. I've got you. Be still. And that is worth way more than the amount that I've been given to give. And I think with Wellspring, one of the biggest values that really connected with me was we get to give. Because this is not my money. God gave me the skills that I have in order to make this money so that I could give it back to Him